At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Hello and welcome to True Crime and the Court of Public Opinion. I am Alexis Knight. Welcome to Headline Lies, Monday, the only place where we do the one thing the news won't. We show you what really happened. This last week, it was a circus between deep fakes and paid protest rumors, AI-generated disasters, and recycled war footage from Call of Duty. The headlines didn't just stretch the truth, they broke it over their knee and posted it with a blue check. Let's be clear about one thing. The news cycle doesn't need to invent stories from scratch anymore. It just needs to nudge you, flash an image, or repeat a phrase that makes your brain light up in all the wrong ways. And by the time you figure it out, you've already moved on. But the lie has planted. It's in you. The lie stays. That's where we come in. We've got headlines from the U.S. and from around the world that were either blatantly false, heavily edited, or completely misrepresented. Here's a preview. A fake National Guardsman called Bob goes viral after being caught tear gassing civilians. The only problem is Bob doesn't exist. A Craigslist ad claiming ICE paid rioters in LA. I mean, the list goes on. This is why the phrase fake news, it doesn't even cut it anymore, okay? The real danger isn't even in the stories. Those are obviously fake. It's in the ones that feel real, okay? The ones that we're not sure. The ones that sound just believable enough so that you share them. The ones that feed on your emotions, outrage, or maybe fear. And they don't come from fringe websites anymore. I mean, they are dressed up, tagged, and pushed straight into your feed by people with check marks and microphones. But today, we're going to break them down, what the headline said, what it made people think, what the actual story was, and who benefits from keeping you confused. Because in this court, the public opinion matters, but only after the evidence is laid out. So let's do what no one else wants to. Call it out, break it down, expose the lies. This is Headline Lies, and we're just getting started. Let's get into it. And all right, headline number 1, and it read, National Guard soldier Bob filmed gassing protesters in LA. This viral post, what did it tell everyone? Well, it claimed a National Guardsman, identified only as Bob, was filmed launching tear gas directly into a crowd of peaceful protesters in downtown Los Angeles. This clip spread like wildfire all over TikTok, X, Telegram, racking up millions of views within 24 hours. The caption? Meet Bob. This is who your tax dollars are funding. Now, what do you think people thought about this? Well, they latched onto it immediately. Was this a rogue soldier? Was the military cracking down on civilians again? Was Bob about to become this week's new January 6th villain? Some demanded criminal charges. Others called him a hero. A few tried to track him down. Either way, the emotions were all locked in, but nobody asked the obvious. Hey, where's this footage from? Who filmed it? Why is it so pixelated? Because what actually happened is that Bob does not exist at all. The face you saw was AI generated. Nothing real about it at all. The uniform pasted from a 2020 BLM protest. The footage stitched together using 2 separate clips. One from Venezuela. Yeah, Venezuela, guys. The other from a riot in Portland 5 years ago. Multiple forensic analysis. Yeah, the actual people that do things like that, well, they confirmed. All the frame splicing, the facial morphing, using standard tools like Midjourney and Runway. Even the National Guard put out a statement that there is no record of this person. The video is fake. Boom, done. But not before it disrupted millions. And what do you think? The clicks and shares? Well, somebody made quite a bit because of that little post. Why did this work? Well, it was believable, almost too believable, right? The uniform, the gas, the chaos, right in the middle of high emotions already. It looked like the kind of thing that could be happening right now. And in a random first name like Bob, and suddenly you've humanized a monster. It didn't need to be real. It just needed to feel real. Like I tell you guys, these headlines are. But there are consequences. I mean, lawmakers were citing the video in public hearings, and this was before it was debunked. That's serious. That is a problem. Protest organizers used Bob to rally crowds. A fringe activist group posted a $5,000 bounty to identify this man. I mean, think about this. A fake human got doxxed. I mean, we're not just getting lied to, guys. We're getting AI gaslit by people with editing software and way too much free time, apparently. And still, no one's pulled the post, and they won't. There's too much fun to be had there, too much money to be made. Bob lives on in 1,000 reshared lies. Even if he never existed in the first place, he's still out there, causing chaos. All right, let's move into this next one here that reads, Craigslist ad proves ICE paid rioters in LA. Wow. This screenshot made the rounds of a supposed Craigslist ad recruiting actors to participate in a civil demonstration on behalf of ICE. The ad mentioned cash payments, meal vouchers, and even optional transportation, and people ran with this. Some posted, ICE caught paying people to riot. Spread this before it's deleted. It looked just shady enough to pass the sniff test, and it did. For about 4 million people. 4 million fell for this without ever checking it out. I mean, this triggered every reflex. ICE is bad. Government equals paying agitators. Protesters equal not real, just plants. And the reaction was instant. This proves it. It's all fake. We are being manipulated. And suddenly, everybody was an expert on covert ops and Craigslist postings, apparently. But what actually happened here is, yes, there was an ad. Not from ICE, though. This thing was a prank. Some anonymous user posted it in Casper, Wyoming's job board, then manually changed the location to LA. And it stayed up for 2 hours before Craigslist, it auto-monitored it and flagged it. But someone grabbed that screenshot and cropped it, then added ICE's logo in the corner, and then pushed it out with a caption saying, confirmed. And from there, it jumped platforms. TikTok, X, Instagram. Even one independent journalist on YouTube, okay, they did a 12-minute rant on this. They didn't even verify it. ICE released a statement the next morning. We have no association with this ad. Any implication to the contrary is false. But that is not what trended. The post already did its job. It already made a lot of money for someone. And 4 million people helped make that happen. This worked because it matched the current narrative people want to believe for some reason, that the government is dirty, that protests are all fake, and that everything is staged. It gave people proof, no matter how fake, to back up what they already felt. And no one wants to fact-check their feelings. If you agree with it, you just want to leave it alone. And the fallout of this, protest events were accused of being scripted, real protests. I'm not talking about the destructive, let's rob and break everything. ICE employees, they got harassed online, trying to protect. One actual protester in LA was confronted by a stranger and called a crisis actor. Dang. This ad was taken down. There was no apology, no correction. Remember, we don't do that anymore. There is zero accountability because there doesn't need to be any accountability. Just another fake seed planted in a digital rage garden, happening all the time to us now. The truth doesn't spread, okay? The screenshot does. The one that gets your attention, whether it's true or not. And hey, if it comes with just enough government stink, people just can't resist it. And they know that. Let's move on to headline number 3 that reads, Texas track meet stabbing leaves 1 dead. All right, early Wednesday morning, X, formerly Twitter if you just don't know, exploded with this claim. Breaking 17-year-old athlete stabbed during track meet in Texas. 1 dead, suspect in custody. The post came from an account posing as Tex something alert, supposedly the Tex School Safety Authority, okay? Hundreds of thousands saw this in under 1 hour, and the replies were absolute chaos. Texas is lost. Another stabbing? Where are the parents? Arrest them all. Except there was no stabbing. There was no track meet, no dead kid, no such agency. People thought Texas just violent, broken, and filled with headlines you don't even want to click anymore. Parents shared it in PTA Facebook groups. Local stations began investigating. And of course, the gun rights activists and school safety accounts retweeted it as evidence. One verified user even quoted it with, "I warned y'all this would happen." And in all of that big, let's get to this, nobody paused to verify. Okay, because this account was fake. It only had 2 followers, no blue check, and a bunch of copied and pasted content from unrelated real incidents. The post was geotagged to Vancouver, and the school mentioned in this tweet doesn't even exist. Not in Texas, not anywhere. Nobody bothered to even check that. This was classic, low-effort disinfo that still is making people money off of all the people panicking. Create a fake account, reference a plausible-sounding school event, and post it at 6:45 a.m. when no one's really awake enough to ask questions. And by noon, local law enforcement put out a bulletin. There has been no such incident at any Texas school this week, but this tweet had already been screenshotted, reshared, and reshared and reshared, misquoted. So many different ways. This thing took off because it felt true. Emotions again. It had the keywords Texas, teen, school, stabbing. That's going to get your attention. It's the kind of headline we've been trained to expect and trained to believe. It came with urgency, breaking capital letters, the internet's favorite bait. Several Texas schools had to send emails to parents clarifying that nothing happened. A major news aggregator included it in a trending incident summary, and the account vanished 10 hours later, deleted, gone, zero trace. But hey, check deposited. No source, no consequence, just a fabricated tragedy that hijacked attention for half a day from quite a few people that made someone quite a few dollars. We've entered an era where someone can fake a school stabbing before breakfast and half the country believes it before lunch and the posters on vacation the next week. This wasn't news. This was a lie with the timestamp and bait for you. All right, headline number 4, still in the U.S. Wildfire devastates Los Angeles. Photos show neighborhoods destroyed. Well, what did this say? A series of jaw-dropping photos that go viral midweek showing burned homes, scorched palm trees, and an aerial shot of L.A. engulfed in flames. Captions read, "This is what FEMA won't show you. L.A. is burning and the media is silent. West Coast gone. Pray for us." The images looked straight out of a disaster movie because they basically were. What people thought about this? What would you think? I mean, they thought there was a full-blown wildfire disaster happening in or around LA, and panic hit group chats. A fire station in San Bernardino said they received dozens of calls asking if evacuation was needed. Even international outlets reposted the photos. Zero verification. And it wasn't just the photos, it was the tone. Desperate, government cover-up for sure. Mainstream media is not telling you this. That phrase alone, viral rocket fuel. Gotta stop getting played, guys. None of those images were real. Not one. They were AI generated, and I have warned you about AI. Please go listen to the AI episodes. I will be doing another one soon, but there's a lot to know there. These were all AI generated images, primarily using Midjourney and Firefly. Easy programs. Analysts found classic tells here. Melted power lines that made no electrical sense, palm trees growing sideways, shadows facing two different directions. AI is not perfect. It's getting there. But, sometimes you can see this stuff if you look for just part of a second longer. The real kicker here, no actual fires were reported in LA at the time of this posting. Okay? Not even a brush fire. Just regular smog and a little heat. FEMA released a statement saying, "These photos are not from any verified incident. Please refer to official fire maps before sharing emergency alerts." That's a good post, but it was too late. The damage was viral. And this thing spread for a couple of reasons. The images look cinematic. Sharp contrast, blood orange skies, black silhouettes. AI does drama better than reality now. Really. And it confirmed a belief that people already had. The government hides disasters. California is always on fire, and we are not being told the truth. So then you give people that believe all this, and boom, it's retweet city. A wildfire relief fundraiser collected $14,000 for this fire that didn't exist. Some users were duped into sharing evacuation checklists. Imagine if you were telling people to evacuate and you were responsible for that without even checking if there was even an emergency. LA officials spent the next day debunking fake images instead of being able to prep for real emergencies. So how do you think that is? This was not just fake news. It was a fake disaster. The house wasn't on fire, but the internet was. You don't need arson to burn a city anymore. All you need is AI, Midjourney, maybe a bad attitude. That would help. How about this headline here? Our final U.S. headline. Biden admin funds transgender mice experiment. Wow. Multiple viral posts this week claimed that the Biden administration used taxpayer money to fund a project turning mice transgender. The headlines varied, of course, but the favorite was, "Your tax dollars just transitioned a rodent. Sleep tight, America." Cue outrage, right? Cue cable rants. Cue podcast meltdowns. This thing got to people and quick. Even Tucker-adjacent creators jumped on it, calling it proof we have just lost the plot as a country. People thought that someone somewhere in a lab coat, and of course funded by the U.S. government, was injecting mice with estrogen in the name of wokeness. That this was science gone mad. That instead of feeding the homeless, we were playing gender games with rodents. And people were furious. Memes exploded. One showed a mouse in lipstick holding a tiny pride flag. Another had a lab mouse whispering, "Call me Maxine." It was performative rage at its finest. But there was no study. There were no mice. There was no funding. Joke is on you guys. Every time. Here's what actually did happen. A satire account on a fringe site. Think Babylon Bee, but dumber. posted a mock report about a rodent identity protocol funded by the NIH. Someone cropped the satire label right off, screenshotted just the headline, and posted it to X with, and I quote, "This is real," in caps. Biden just approved $2 million to study trans identity in animals. A known fake news amplifier, same one who posted the furry litter boxes in schools lie, reposted it to Telegram and TikTok and Truth Social. From there, it was game over. People wanted to believe this because it sounded perfectly insane. The closest real connection, though, there was an unrelated 2017 study involving hormone responses in lab mice. That was for cancer research. So maybe that got twisted. No transition, no policy, no weird woke rodent initiative. But so many people just latched onto it and believed it and took a stance. Even NIH issued a statement saying, "We are not aware of any project matching these claims." The word transgender doesn't appear in any relevant funding document ever. This thing blew up because simply it was irresistible. We've reached a point where if you put the words Biden and trans and mice into a sentence, it doesn't matter when it's from, what they're saying, what's going on, the internet just will combust. Nobody wants to verify. Wait, when was that? What did that say? I just saw this yesterday and it said what? But I'm mad today. It's just not making any sense. People just want to react. They want to mock, meme, and share. They just want to. It's like the outrage is addictive. You really got something there. You don't even need a real story anymore, guys. Just a vibe, a headline, and a target. The fake story here was shared by multiple school board candidates in red states. One state rep in Missouri cited it in a speech opposing trans health care, calling it an example of federal madness. It's just a chance to jump on the other side. It goes both ways, guys. Again, on this show, we don't take a side. People jump on anything to get support and clicks. They don't care if it's true. An actual biology professor got doxxed here after someone falsely claimed that she led the project. Can you imagine if that were you? All of this over mice that don't even exist. Over a grant that never happened. Over a joke no one bothered to read all the way through. It's insane out there. We didn't fund trans mice, but we did just give stupidity a $14 million reach. That's right. In the digital world, facts are mice. And headlines are cats with bad intentions. Nobody cares anymore. They just read and react, making someone else the dollar. And okay, let's leave the U.S. here. Let's take it global. Because like I say, these headline lies, they're everywhere. This one reads, 40 babies beheaded by Hamas. IDF confirms. In the fog of war, one headline burned hotter than any missile. That 40 babies beheaded. IDF confirms. It was reported, reposted, screamed, and weaponized. Influencers were crying on camera. Major U.S. politicians referenced it. An Israeli military spokesperson initially nodded vaguely when asked if the claim was true. And that was enough. No pictures, no names, no confirmation. Just horror and repetition. What an awful thing to spread around. People thought that Hamas fighters decapitated 40 infants in one village. Not soldiers, not teenagers, babies. That this was the most barbaric act committed in the modern era. That the war, if there was any doubt before, had become a biblical nightmare. The words babies and beheaded were repeated like a war drum across global media. But this never happened. There was no confirmed case of 40 babies or even one baby being beheaded. in that incident. Even Israeli officials later walked it back, saying they couldn't verify this claim and that it may have been confusion. Here's how this whole thing unfolded. An Israeli journalist claimed to see the bodies of beheaded infants, but did not provide photos or video. A reporter with I-24 News ran the number. I was told 40 babies beheaded. No attribution, guys, no evidence. A news anchor picks it up, phrased it like a quote, and then the internet exploded. The IDF said nothing definitive for hours, and in the void, the horror grew, as you can imagine and expect. If you believe this, by the time they clarified, the claim had been shared millions of times. That is, millions of people affected. And if you think it doesn't affect you, imagine getting this outrage and upset over and over again with these headlines. It's like getting the worst news. You are outraged and you are responding. And yes, that does have an effect on the body. And this helped with that millions of times. When you say 40 babies beheaded, it's not a news headline. This is an emotional Molotov cocktail. It will bypass all logic, shut down nuance. It says you're either with us or you are a monster, and you defend yourself by supporting the headline. Once it was out there, it became untouchable. Even questioning it got people labeled as anti-Semites or deniers. No journalist wanted to be the one saying, hey, where's the proof? But they should have been. That's their job for us. The news is supposed to bring us the facts of what's going on in the world, but they're just spreading this stuff because we're clicking and sharing. Protesters used this as justification for retaliatory bombings. Bombings because of a lie. Politicians cited it to block humanitarian aid to Gaza. Blocking aid? And news outlets that did not report it, well, they got accused of bias, slammed. And people who questioned it, they got death threats over a lie. We can't question if it's true. That's what we're doing here. All from a story with no confirmed source, no photographic evidence, and no military report. Just a whisper in wartime. The most powerful weapon wasn't a rocket here, it was a sentence. One phrase turned the world against an entire population, and nobody stopped to ask if any of it was true. We don't need a propaganda machine anymore. We have headlines and the people. The people are doing their job. They are responding and sharing and making people money. Well, they go nuts, get headaches and stress. How about this one? Did you see this one? IDF rape video leaked from Gaza hospital. This thing told everybody that we have a breaking news alert claiming there was leaked video evidence of Israeli Defense Forces soldiers committing sexual assault against Palestinian women in Gaza, specifically at Shifa Hospital, a recurring focal point in the conflict. The clip was said to have surfaced via encrypted Telegram channels, then picked up by Al Jazeera, Press TV, and several blue-check independent journalists, blue checks, guys. Captions reading, IDF caught red-handed. The rape tape is real. But is it real? They didn't even verify it. Not even at all. How about this one? What more proof do you need? Well, I personally would like to see the proof, yes, like any of it, because there wasn't any. But the implication was clear. This war wasn't just brutal, it was criminal. Systemically criminal. And people thought the Israelis' military had crossed into war crime territory, that they were raping Palestinian women, and possibly even filming it and leaving the footage to be found. That Shifa Hospital wasn't just being raided, it was being desecrated. Outrage spread like napalm, petitions, hashtags, threats, the same little, mix of things. Even Western celebrities, right? Because they're all involved in everything now. They reposted this with "silence is violence." They never verified anything either. This video, not real. The source, sketchy Telegram channel with a long history of spliced war content. They don't have any original footage. And this footage? No faces identifiable. Filmed in total darkness. No military gear, did you check that out? No recognizable location and no timeline. Audio barely decipherable. No metadata, which matters, okay, when you're verifying war footage. Shortly after publishing this story, they issued a retraction saying the clip was unverifiable and had likely been misrepresented. Misrepresented? Do we remember what happened? Petitions, hashtags, and threats. And with everyone all worked up, they're not going and reading retractions. Nobody's reading those. The lie had done its job. Everyone's worn out. They picked their side. They reacted. Now they're taking a nap. This thing took off because the accusation is immune to skepticism, really. Rape is visceral. It's horrifying. It short-circuits any logic. You will defend when you hear about logic. So when the headlines hit, people were clicking, they were crying, they were reposting and screaming. And then they moved on after they just put a lot of money in someone's pocket. Even respected reporters danced around the truth because they want in on the profit, guys. It's all a game. They didn't say it was verified, but they didn't say it wasn't. You got to catch this stuff. I mean, thousands condemned Israel based solely on that video. UN debate rooms referenced this clip, and they didn't confirm it. Several Jewish students in Europe were harassed and accused of defending rapists. A fabricated clip became the basis for very real-world threats, and that is not journalism. That's psychological warfare, guys. If you want to destroy truth, don't lie out loud. Just lie emotionally. People won't fact-check a rape video. That's rude. They will share it, they will cry over it, and build their belief system around it. And when it turns out to be fake, well, they'll just turn away. No one's going to apologize. They'll just wait for the next horror to feel real enough. All right, here's another one. Another with the IDF. IDF cages Palestinian children in Gaza hospital basement. Now, a viral photo began circulating. Dark concrete room, rows of metal cages. Inside each cage, a child. Captions hit hard. This is what they're doing in Gaza. Hospital basement, Israeli soldiers. No one's stopping it. Multiple posts claim this was leaked from the basement of Al-Shifa Hospital again, and allegedly showed Palestinian children imprisoned in makeshift holding cells. The word cages did all the work here. Instant gut reaction and immediate spread. That the IDF was using Gaza hospitals to detain and abuse children. That's what people thought. Like Guantanamo meets Auschwitz. The photo was shared as proof of war crimes. It hit major Western cities by nightfall, featured in protest posters in London, New York, and Paris. And no one questioned the lighting, the framing, the texture. Nope, they just felt it and they reposted it again and again and again and again. But what was this? Well, the image was from a video game. Hello. Specifically, one you might know, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, 2019. A mission involving a Middle Eastern prison raid. The cages, game assets, guys. The kids, AI-generated character models. Yep. The image had been circulating on fan boards for years, long before the current conflict. It was grabbed, filtered, cropped, and posted, without context, by a known propaganda account that had previously shared deepfakes of Gaza executions. Reverse image search busted this thing in under 15 minutes. But in the algorithm world, that's 14 minutes too late. All it needs is to plant and go. take off. And it did. This story was already believable in people's minds. And people wanted to see evil because for some reason we just want to believe all this stuff. They were looking for it. The image gave shape to a fear they already held, and it amplified it. And because it was just one more image, nobody asked where it came from. This was not about verification, it was about vengeance. I mean, people want to get that. They don't care if it's even true. Children in Cages posters, okay, they appeared in over 20 protests around our world, all because of this lie. A Canadian MP tweeted the image before deleting it. Okay, like let's check it. Several activist groups used the image in fundraising emails. And on X, it's still out there, rebranded, recaptioned. I mean, this thing, it's still going. We have got garbage upon garbage out there, guys. I mean, even after it was proven fake, this thing stayed alive because new people see it and they're going to react just like the first person did, making money all day long. Because online, the lie isn't the problem. I mean, it is the fuel. When your headline is built on pixels, the damage is real even if the photo isn't. Okay? You can't unsee it. You can't unfeel it. And that's the point of all of this stuff. How about this one? Qatar threatens to cut off gas supply to Israel. A flurry of posts and short-form videos claimed that Qatar had officially threatened to halt natural gas exports in Israel in response to alleged war crimes. And this quote spread fast. Qatar will not fuel genocide. It sounded official, it sounded bold, and it came dressed in seriousness. News-style banners, fake press conference subtitles, even a doctored logo. And within hours, influencers were praising Qatar. Finally, they said, a country doing something. And this message was global. The story? Pure fiction. People thought that Qatar, a major player in global LNG, liquefied natural gas, guys, was cutting off the tap. That Israel was about to face a major energy crisis. That the Middle East was closing ranks and escalating economic retaliation. It was shared as a win. Finally, a red line. Or Qatar takes a stand. Except it never happened, guys. There was no official threat, no press release, and no policy change. What did happen? A private Qatari economist, not in government, made a personal tweet about energy leverage. And someone cropped that, added breaking to the top, and reposted it. With new branding, fabricated government seal. And it went wild. This tweet was a thought experiment, guys, not a statement. And Qatar's Ministry of Energy later clarified there have been no changes to our export policies regarding any nation. In fact, Qatar isn't even a direct fuel supplier to Israel. Most of Israel's natural gas is domestically sourced from the Leviathan field or imported via Europe. But facts don't matter once the fake quote caught fire. This worked because the lie felt like justice porn. People wanted to see a wealthy Arab state confront Israel economically. They wanted a nonviolent headline that still hit like a punch. And the best part, it wasn't violent. It was elegant. Just turn off the gas. A moral stand. Simple, satisfying, and 100% fake, and people fell for it everywhere. But the fallout here, Middle East TikTok flooded with edits of the announcement. A few European gas traders panicked temporarily until clarification came. Several activist influencers refused to retract this claim, saying it's probably what they should do anyway. I'm leaving it there. They don't care what you believe. This was not a policy change. It was a fantasy role play, dressed up as geopolitics. You don't need to feel a war. It doesn't need to be powerful. You just need a quote that sounds real enough to repost. All right. We have war around us. We have these feelings and things, and they're playing on it every single day. In a world this charged, people don't even care what's true, only what feels victorious. Why are people so quick to jump on anything that they see? Maybe our phone's online too much. Get outside and go take a walk. How about this headline? This will be our last one here. Global headline. COVID vaccine deaths outnumber cases in Taiwan. Now, we hear anything about this, anyone hears anything about this, and they're just going to freak. And we don't want to hear. We're all traumatized. This graphic went viral claiming that in Taiwan, the number of people who died from COVID-19, the vaccine, outnumbered the people who actually got COVID. And this is a fear out there that the vaccination is killing people. So this thing definitely is going to take off, right? A headline from a fringe site read, Taiwan confirms more dead from vaccine than virus itself. And the image showed a couple of stats. 836 vaccine deaths, 622 COVID cases. And that's it. You don't need a timeline. You don't need a source. And you certainly don't need an explanation on things like this. Just shock math. And enough people fell for this to make it trend across Telegram, Truth Social, parts of Facebook. It was everywhere. People thought that the vaccine was a government-sanctioned death sentence. The Taiwan, seen early on as a COVID success story, had finally admitted that the vaccine was deadlier than the virus. People want answers to this, right? Everyone's always wondering about the COVID vaccine. So when we see something like this, some people are saying, we finally have an answer. They don't need it verified. They just don't want to wonder about it anymore. So it's so easy to grab people with things like this. Anti-vaxxers, they jumped on this as their holy grail stat. And the language around it, it wasn't cautious. It was celebratory. They called it proof. We finally have it, the truth they are trying to hide. Except it was not even remotely close to any truth. The data came from Veyer-style voluntary reporting in Taiwan. What this means is that any adverse event after vaccination was reported as related, even if it was unrelated. Of the 836 reported deaths, none were verified as caused by the vaccine. And the number of COVID cases listed from April 2020, when case counts were near zero because of lockdown success, that post intentionally mashed together two unrelated timeframes: vaccine rollout numbers from 21 and 22, and COVID case numbers from early 2020. So if you looked at Taiwan's real totals, over 5 million COVID cases, fewer than 200 vaccine-related deaths possibly linked, with no conclusive causality on most. The government called the headline deliberate statistical manipulation. But by then, screenshots were everywhere. This thing got reposted in 17 different countries that we know so far, zero context. But a lot of panic and fear running through people's blood. This thing spread because it weaponized numbers without timelines. It's a classic disinfo tactic. Look for this. It's the visual equivalent of lying with confidence. A clean bar graph, a scary headline, a stat pulled out of context, and boom, you've created panic, or even worse, validation for someone's deepest bias. The fallout of this, Taiwan's health ministry was forced to issue a rebuttal in 3 different languages. Vaccine hesitancy spiked 8% in rural regions, and U.S.-based wellness influencers began citing this as proof the media had lied about mRNA. These influencers are influencing, and they're not fact-checking, guys. None of them followed up. None of them corrected their story either when the truth came out, and why would they? Feels true, you're going to click, and they're still going to make money off of it. When numbers meet rage, facts get flattened. That's just the fact of it. A statistic does not need to be accurate anymore. You just need to react to it. It needs to be shareable. Scary. And that makes it news. Today's news, at least for a day, maybe forever, because they just keep it out there. A whole new generation's going to find it very soon. All the lies we sift through, they just move on to different places. The algorithm knows exactly where to put them next. So there you have it. We went over 10 headlines, 10 lies, and 1 ugly truth. You are being manipulated every single day by headlines designed to hijack your feelings. They are not there to inform your thinking. Remember, this is not about left or right. We're done with that. This is about right and wrong. This is not about Israel or Gaza. This isn't even about politics anymore, is it? This is about power. And power does not come from who writes the story. It comes from who controls the first impression. Because if a lie makes it to your screen before the truth gets to you, it seems the truth can never really catch up. It is serious out there. I mean, we watched a soldier who didn't exist become a villain. AI fire photos that convinced people to donate to a fake disaster. A joke about mice and gender make it into legislative talking points. And war crimes fabricated with video game footage. I mean, come on, I can't take it. And it all worked because we have built a news economy on emotional reaction over any verified information. We lost all that. Our news needs to be verified. But this is not happening. No one's verifying. It's going on every platform, every feed, every share. It doesn't matter anymore. So here is your reminder again. If it shocks you, if it makes you furious or seems a little too perfect, it probably is not real. The only question is, are you going to share it anyway? Because you're going to feel like sharing it. In this new world, remember, outrage is the product. That's what's making the money. And if you don't fact check your feed, you're the customer and the content. And that's it for this week's Headline Lies. If you liked this episode, don't just share the podcast, share your brain. Call the lie out before it spreads. Be the friction, not the fuel. And if you don't like this episode, you're probably mad at the messenger, not the message. Either way, we'll be back Friday with more Headline Lies that lied right to your face. Tuesday through Thursday, cases and chaos. Until then, stay sharp out there, guys. Ask the difficult questions and always demand the truth. And for the love of truth, stop reposting things that you didn't even read. That's Headline Lies. Now you know better. I'm Alexis Knight. You've been listening to True Crime and the Court of Public Opinion, and I will talk to you guys the next time.